My friend Sarah sold everything she owned in 2019 to buy an RV and live the nomad dream. She had it all planned out: work remotely from beautiful locations, camp for free on public lands, and live on half her previous housing costs. 3 years later, she's back in an apartment, financially drained, and warning everyone she meets about the harsh realities of RV life that nobody talks about. Sarah's story isn't unique. Across America, thousands of people who jumped into RV living over the past few years are discovering that the Instagram version of nomad life bears little resemblance to the actual experience. Rising costs, disappearing camping spots, and changing regulations have turned the affordable freedom dream into an expensive nightmare for many. The RV industry and influencer community don't want you to hear these stories because they're still selling the fantasy. But the reality on the ground has changed dramatically, and people deserve to know what they're really getting into before they sell their house and hit the road. Today we're examining the new reality for RVers in America in 2025. These aren't the horror stories you see in disaster compilations. These are the everyday challenges that are making RV life increasingly difficult and expensive for ordinary people trying to make this lifestyle work. Here's the truth about what RV life really looks like now. The great campground squeeze is real. Finding a place to park your RV has become a daily struggle that's only getting worse. The campgrounds that do exist are booked solid months in advance, and the prices have skyrocketed to levels that make budget RV living nearly impossible. State parks that used to charge $20 to $25 per night are now hitting $45 to $60, and that's if you can even get a reservation. Popular destinations book up within minutes of their booking windows opening, often to the same people using automated booking systems to grab multiple sites they'll later cancel or resell. Private campgrounds have gotten even more expensive, with many charging $75 to $100+ per night for basic hookups. The luxury RV resorts that are replacing older affordable parks often cost more per night than decent hotels, completely defeating the purpose of budget-friendly RV travel. But here's what really drives people crazy. Even at these inflated prices, the quality often sucks. Overcrowded sites barely big enough for modern RVs, facilities that haven't been updated since the 1980s, and rules so restrictive you feel like you're in a minimum security prison rather than a vacation destination. The free camping that everyone talks about on YouTube? It's disappearing fast. Popular boondocking spots are being overrun and subsequently closed or restricted. What used to be peaceful, dispersed camping areas now look like refugee camps, with RVs packed so tightly that you can hear your neighbors' conversations through the walls. Local governments are cracking down too. Towns that used to welcome RVers are implementing overnight parking bans, time restrictions, and permit requirements that make spontaneous travel nearly impossible. The days of just rolling into town and finding a safe, legal place to park are largely over. The hidden cost explosion. Nobody warned you about. Remember when RV living was supposed to be cheaper than traditional housing? Those days are gone. The true costs of RV life have exploded in ways that catch most people completely off guard. Fuel costs alone can destroy your budget. That Class A motorhome getting 8 miles per gallon doesn't seem so appealing when diesel is over $4 per gallon and you're driving hundreds of miles just to find available campsites. Many RVers are spending $500 to $800 per month just on fuel, not counting the wear and tear on their vehicles. Insurance costs have skyrocketed as companies reassess the risks of mobile living. Full-time RV insurance can cost 2 to 3 times what you'd pay for recreational use, and some companies are simply refusing to write policies for people living in their RVs full-time. Maintenance and repairs have become budget killers. RV service centers know they have you over a barrel. When your house breaks down, you need it fixed immediately regardless of cost. Labor rates have increased dramatically. Parts take forever to get, and the quality of work often reflects the rushed, profit-driven environment. But the real killer is all the hidden costs nobody mentions. Dump station fees, propane fills, laundry, showers at truck stops, storage units for stuff that doesn't fit, and constant eating out because your tiny RV kitchen isn't practical for real cooking. These small expenses add up to hundreds per month. Many full-time RVers discover they're spending more than they did in traditional housing once they factor in all the real costs. The living on $1,000 per month YouTube videos are either outdated or flat out misleading about what that lifestyle actually looks like. The infrastructure crisis is getting worse. America's infrastructure wasn't designed for the current RV boom, and the strain is showing everywhere. Dump stations are overcrowded and often broken. Cell towers in remote areas can't handle the load from thousands of remote workers trying to stream video calls. Even basic utilities like water and electricity are struggling to keep up. Internet connectivity has become the make-or-break factor for many RVers, especially those trying to work remotely. Despite all the marketing hype about mobile internet solutions, the reality is that reliable, fast internet is still extremely difficult to find in most areas where people want to camp. The cell carrier's unlimited plans aren't really unlimited when you're using your phone as your primary internet connection. Data throttling kicks in quickly, and during peak times or in congested areas, speeds become unusable for any serious work. Starlink was supposed to solve the rural internet problem, but the reality is more complicated. It's expensive, requires constant power, doesn't work well in heavily forested areas, and the performance varies dramatically based on network congestion and weather conditions. Water systems at campgrounds are frequently overloaded, leading to low pressure, contamination issues, and frequent outages. Electrical systems designed decades ago can't handle the load from hundreds of RVs running air conditioners, and power outages are becoming common during peak season. The sewer infrastructure is even worse. Dump stations that haven't been upgraded in 30 years are trying to handle modern high-volume waste tanks, leading to constant backups, overflows, and closures that can strand RVers with full tanks and nowhere to dump. The community myth is largely fiction. One of the biggest selling points of RV life is the supposed community and friendships you'll make on the road. While some people do find genuine connections, the reality for most is much more isolating than anyone wants to admit. The transient nature of RV life makes forming deep friendships extremely difficult. Just when you start connecting with people, someone moves on to their next destination. The constant hellos and goodbyes become emotionally exhausting rather than enriching. Social media has created a false sense of community that doesn't translate to real-world support when you need it. Having 10,000 Instagram followers doesn't help when your RV breaks down in the middle of nowhere and you need actual assistance from real people. The economic stratification in the RV community has become more pronounced. The wealthy retirees and $500,000 motorhomes have little in common with young families trying to make ends meet in used travel trailers. The different economic realities create natural barriers that prevent genuine community formation. Competition for resources has increased tensions rather than fostering cooperation. When campsites are scarce and expensive, people become protective and territorial rather than welcoming and sharing. The scarcity mindset has replaced the abundance mentality that supposedly characterized the RV community. Many full-time RVers report feeling more isolated than they did in traditional housing. Without the natural community structures of neighborhoods, workplaces, and local institutions, building meaningful relationships becomes a constant challenge that many people struggle with. The legal and administrative nightmare. Maintaining legal residency while living in an RV has become a complex maze of requirements that trip up even experienced nomads. State tax obligations, voter registration, driver's license renewals, and mail forwarding create administrative burdens that constantly stress the system. Banking and financial services have become increasingly difficult for people without permanent addresses. Opening accounts, getting loans, and even maintaining existing credit relationships can become problematic when your address is constantly changing. Insurance companies are getting more sophisticated about detecting full-time RV use and adjusting coverage accordingly. Many people discover too late that their recreational use policies don't cover them for full-time living, leaving them unprotected when they need coverage most. Healthcare becomes a major challenge when you're constantly moving between states with different regulations and provider networks. Prescription refills, specialist appointments, and emergency care all become more complicated and expensive when you don't have a stable home base. Vehicle registration and inspection requirements vary wildly between states, and some combinations of residency and travel patterns can create impossible compliance situations. Getting caught in these regulatory gaps can result in fines, registration problems, and legal complications. The Weather Reality Check. Climate change has made weather-related challenges more severe and unpredictable for RVers. The traditional snowbird migration patterns are being disrupted by extreme weather events that make previously safe destinations dangerous or uninhabitable. Wildfire seasons now last most of the year in many western states, making summer camping increasingly risky. Evacuations can happen with little warning, and the smoke makes outdoor activities impossible, even in areas not directly threatened by fires. Hurricane seasons are more intense and longer lasting, affecting Gulf Coast and Atlantic destinations that were previously reliable winter refuges. The increased frequency of severe storms makes coastal RV living much more risky and expensive. Extreme heat events are making summer travel in southern regions nearly impossible without significant air conditioning costs. Running AC constantly in an RV is expensive and puts tremendous strain on electrical systems that weren't designed for continuous high-load operation. Flooding events are becoming more common and severe, affecting areas that never historically flooded. RVs are particularly vulnerable to flood damage, and many insurance policies exclude flood coverage entirely. The infrastructure impacts of extreme weather disproportionately affect RVers. When power grids fail, cell towers go down, or roads flood, RVers lose all their support systems simultaneously while having limited ability to prepare or shelter in place. The aging infrastructure reality. Much of America's camping infrastructure was built decades ago for smaller, simpler RVs and fewer users. Modern RVs are bigger, heavier, and require more utilities than the systems were designed to handle. Campground electrical systems built for 30-amp service struggle with modern RVs that need 50-amp connections. Water systems designed for weekend camping can't handle the demands of full-time residents. Roads and bridges built for occasional recreational traffic are deteriorating under constant heavy use. The maintenance backlog at public campgrounds is enormous. Budget cuts and deferred maintenance have left many facilities in poor condition just as demand has skyrocketed. What should be routine repairs become major reconstruction projects because problems were ignored for years. Private campgrounds face similar challenges, but with the added pressure of maximizing profits. Many choose to pack in more sites rather than improving existing infrastructure, leading to overcrowding and degraded experiences for everyone. The regulatory environment hasn't kept pace with changes in RV technology and usage patterns. Building codes, safety standards, and operational requirements often don't account for modern RV realities, creating compliance challenges and safety issues. The economic sustainability question. For many people, RV living has become economically unsustainable despite starting with good intentions and reasonable budgets. The combination of rising costs and hidden expenses makes the lifestyle financially unviable for anyone without significant disposable income. The job market for remote workers has become more competitive, and many employers are requiring return-to-office policies that eliminate the income source that made RV living possible. The pandemic-driven remote work boom that enabled many people to try RV life is largely over. Healthcare costs for people without employer-sponsored insurance can be devastating. ACA marketplace plans often have limited provider networks that don't work well for people constantly traveling between states. The lack of equity building in RV living becomes a serious long-term financial problem. Unlike home ownership, RV living provides no asset appreciation or equity accumulation, leaving people financially vulnerable as they age. Many people discover that the lifestyle prevents them from advancing their careers or building the professional relationships necessary for long-term success. The constant movement and lack of stable community connections can be career-limiting. Look, I'm not trying to crush anyone's dreams or scare people away from RV travel. For some people, with the right expectations and adequate resources, RV life can still work. But the reality has changed dramatically from what most people expect based on social media and industry marketing. The affordable freedom narrative that drives much of the RV life promotion is largely outdated. Current costs, regulations, and infrastructure realities make RV living as expensive as traditional housing for most people, while adding layers of complexity and stress that many find overwhelming. The people succeeding at RV life now are those with significant financial resources, flexible careers, and realistic expectations about the challenges involved. It's no longer a budget lifestyle option for most Americans, despite what the marketing materials suggest. If you're considering RV life, go in with your eyes wide open. Budget for costs that are double what the YouTube videos suggest. Plan for infrastructure failures, regulatory complications, and social isolation. Understand that the Instagram version isn't representative of daily reality. Most importantly, have an exit strategy. Many people get trapped in RV life because they sold everything to fund it and can't afford to get back into traditional housing when it doesn't work out. Now I want to hear from you. Are you living the RV life currently? How does your experience compare to what you expected? What reality checks would you add to this list? Share your honest experiences in the comments because real stories help people make informed decisions. And if this video gives someone a more realistic picture of what RV life actually involves, please share it. Hit that like button, subscribe for more honest takes on alternative lifestyles, and remember, the truth isn't always pretty, but it's always better than being caught off guard by reality.